Alright, what's up guys? Here we are, hole 13. And you can see what a bear this is going to be to hold this fairway. Especially with the wind angle that I have. So what we're going to try to do is barchetta, extend our target. You can see this is our first tailwind. So let me just go ahead and reset this bag while I'm here. So we'll go back to the root. I like to use that as default. Either that or Stingray, either one. Really just been playing around with root because it's new. But here what you'll see is we extend the target a little bit farther, and hopefully the reduced topspin will keep this from rolling out. Now what you're going to see that I do is I extend and pull over here to the left just a little bit more, and then we're just going to curl back as hard as we can. So this is what we see. Hopefully we get, the ultimate shot there, conversion. It doesn't pull off to the right. It looks pretty good. And as you can see, this keeps us on the higher ground, not rolling into the rough. And wow, does this take a lot of roll. I cannot believe it's still rolling. So very sloped fairway here. Thank goodness it didn't roll in the rough, because that just kept going. And very slowly too. So let's see here what we're looking at. So here, right on the front of the green here. So one of the things that I might do, because I don't really like playing towards min. Now, this isn't really right at min. So there's kind of two different ways to play this. We can do the backspin approach. This might be a good opportunity to just take a look at landing on the front of this green and doing some kind of overplay, because this isn't really something that I get a lot of opportunity to talk about on my channel. So maybe this is a good time to pull out this shot, because it'll be one of the only shots on my entire channel that's going to have this kind of look to it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use the topspin model, but as you can see, we're not using all of it. So you can see we're not really towards max that much. So here you can see max is saying 20 rings. But what does topspin say? So it says 27. So we know our adjustment's going to be somewhere in between these two. Because really, what this topspin model is a side wind, at the max line. We're going to be pulling away from max. So it's definitely not going to be 27 rings. But maybe somewhere around 23 versus 20. Because you got to keep in mind, we're pulling away from max. So if I start up here at the max line, and you can see that I'm pulling, even though the ball guide's short, it's going to stretch out. So why don't we try around 24 rings here? Just so we can see, what it looks like. And I would say, this definitely takes some practice to get some feel and to get good at this. It's not something you can just do, once in a while. It's something that you would really have to practice pretty regularly to be able to make shots like this. Now let's just see how this comes in and see. And what there should be is there should have been some wind effect there. It didn't really take off. What I typically end up seeing is some side spin to where it starts really kicking to the right, and I didn't get it there. Now, one of the reasons why is this green might be so downhill that what ends up happening when you get in close to wedge, so, maybe I should have almost stayed closer to this 20. And the reason being is because the target is pointed down so much that it's not so much a downhill shot. What it does when you're in close, this is kind of one of the anomalies of this game. So let's just say I was at driver distance or 3-wood distance. Well, then it would play more like a downhill shot. Now, but what you're seeing is the target on the wedges, when you're in here so close, it lowers the target and you actually end up needing to go less rings. So wedges versus driver play significantly different, because on the club with the wedge, it ends up pointing it more towards the ground versus with the as opposed to like a driver where it'll actually play downhill on the elevation. So like, let's say off this tee, I might play this 10, like my driver 10% downhill. But with the wedges, it almost starts playing uphill. It's weird. It's like kind of an anomaly. And it's because the target is lowering, which means your shot arc, if you look at your shot arc, it's pointed more towards the ground, which makes for a lower arc. So you'll see that the uphill ones actually play downhill, more wind, but this is only for wedges. So this is just something that you need to figure out for wedges. And the more that you can play around with that and understand, the better and more dialed you'll get, especially when, like, let's suppose we were able to get in there a little bit closer, there was a front pin location. It's going to be much better, you know, at 70% wedge, 80% wedge, to be able to go at that and try to make that shot with the wedge. So that's why I was kind of, you know, starting with that wedge shot. And, you know, it's just one of those things where we don't get to do it a lot. So the more that you practice it and the more that you see it on specific holes, because if that was flat ground, that ball would have pulled more towards the hole there. As you could see, it really didn't take any of that side spin from the wind effect or anything. And it's because it was playing downhill, it stayed out of the wind more. So keep all that in mind, and good luck, and I'll see you guys on the next